Jake Morrison sat by the big window in the space station. He watched the colorful clouds of gas and stars in the distance. They were beautiful, but they reminded him of the battle 6 months ago. The battle where all his friends died. He was only 23 years old, but he felt much older. The doctor said he needed rest. His boss said he needed time to heal. But Jake could not stop thinking about that day. He could not stop seeing his friends die. He could not sleep without bad dreams. The space station was called Frontier's Edge. It was huge and had thousands of people living on it. But Jake felt alone. He spent most of his time in this quiet room looking out at space. Sometimes other soldiers would try to talk to him. He would just nod and walk away. Jake had been a good soldier before the battle. He was smart and brave. He could plan attacks that saved lives. But now he could barely think straight. The doctors gave him pills to help him sleep. They did not work very well. Today was different. Captain Ben Harris came to find him. Ben was a good man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had known Jake since Jake joined the Army 3 years ago. "Jake, we need to talk," Ben said. He sat down next to Jake by the window. Jake did not look at him. "I'm fine, Captain." "No, you're not. And that's okay. But something is happening. Today. Something strange." Jake finally looked at Ben. "What do you mean?" "The aliens are here. The ones with the crystal skin. They want to give you something." Jake frowned. He knew about the Zephyrians. They looked like people, but their skin was like colored glass. They were very smart, and had helped humans win the war. But they were also strange and cold. "Give me what?" Jake asked. Ben looked uncomfortable. "It's hard to explain. They call it a cultural exchange, but really they want to give you a companion. A female from their planet." Jake's eyes went wide. "What? Why would they do that?" "They say it's their way of helping warriors heal from battle. They think you need someone to help you feel better." Jake stood up fast. "That's crazy. I don't want anyone. Tell them no." "I can't do that, Jake. It's not that simple." "Why not?" Ben sighed. "Because saying no would insult them. They helped us win the war. We need them as friends. If we refuse their gift, they might stop helping us." Jake felt angry. "So I have to take some alien woman because of politics?" "I'm sorry, Jake, I really am, but yes." Jake wanted to hit something, he wanted to yell, but he was too tired to fight. "This is not right." "I know. But sometimes we have to do things we don't like. It's part of being a soldier." Jake sat back. Down. He put his head in his hands. "What am I supposed to do with her?" "I don't know. The Zephyrians didn't give us details. They just said she would help you heal." A few hours later, Jake stood in the meeting room. Captain Harris was there along with 3 Zephyrian aliens. They were tall and thin, with skin that looked like colored crystal. Their leader was called Ambassador Veltar. He had blue crystal skin and no hair. "Lieutenant Morrison," Veltar said in perfect English, "we are honored to help you in your time of healing." Jake said nothing. He did not feel honored. "We have brought you a gift from our world. She will help your mind become peaceful again." The door opened and a young woman walked in. Jake's breath caught in his throat. She looked mostly human, but her skin had a soft shine to it like pearl. Her hair was silver and seemed to move like water. Her eyes were purple and very large. She was beautiful, but she looked sad. "This is Lyra," Veltar said. "She has been chosen specially for you. She will live with you and care for you until you are well." Lyra looked at Jake. She did not smile. She just nodded once like she was following orders. Jake felt sick. "I don't need anyone to take care of me." "All warriors need healing after battle," Veltar said. "This is our way. Lyra will absorb your pain and make you strong again." "Absorb my pain? What does that mean?" "She will take your bad feelings into herself. This will make you better." Jake looked at Lyra again. She was still looking at him with those sad purple eyes. She seemed resigned, like she expected something bad to happen. "What if I say no?" Jake asked. Vel quote. Tar quote. S crystal face showed. No emotion. That would be very insulting to our people. We would have to reconsider our friendship with humans. Captain Harris put a hand on Jake's shoulder. Jake, please. Think about what's best for everyone. Jake felt trapped. He did not want this girl to be forced to take care of him. But he also did not want to cause problems between humans and Zephyrians. He looked at Lyra one more time. She was young, maybe his age. She stood very straight, but her hands were shaking a little. Fine, Jake said quietly. But I have rules. Of course, Veltar said. She gets her own space. She doesn't have to do anything she doesn't want to do. And if she wants to leave, she can leave. Veltar looked confused. That is not how this works, Lieutenant. She is yours now. You decide what she does. No, Jake said firmly. That's not how I work. There was silence in the room. Captain Harris looked worried. The Zephyrians whispered to each other in their own language. Finally, Veltar nodded. As you wish. We will return in 2 months to see how you are healing. After the aliens left, Jake and Lyra stood alone in the room with Captain Harris. I'll show you to your quarters, the captain said. As they walked through the hallways of the station, Jake noticed people staring at them. Some of the soldiers made comments under their breath. Jake heard words like lucky and exotic. It made him angry. They reached Jake's room. It was small but had 2 beds, a table, and a small kitchen area. I'll have another bed brought in, Captain Harris said. No need, Jake replied. I'll sleep on the couch. Lyra spoke for the first time. Her voice was soft and musical. You do not have to do that. Yes, I do, Jake said. This is your room too now. Captain Harris left them alone. Jake and Lyra stood looking at each other. The silence was heavy and uncomfortable. I know you don't want to be here, Jake said finally. I don't want you to be here either. But we're stuck with each other for 2 months. Lyra nodded. I understand. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to force you to do anything. You can do whatever you want. Lyra looked surprised. That is not what I was told would happen. What were you told? That you would use me to heal your battle wounds. That I would serve you until you were strong again. Jake felt sick again. I'm not going to use you for anything. You're a person, not a tool. Lyra stared at him for a long moment. I do not understand. You will, Jake said. I hope you will. That night Jake made a bed on the couch. Lyra took the bedroom. Neither of them slept very well. Jake because of his usual nightmares, and Lyra because she was confused and scared. But something had started between them. Something neither the humans nor the Zephyrians had planned for. Something that would change everything. The first week was very awkward. Jake and Lyra barely spoke to each other. Jake would wake up early and leave for breakfast. Lyra would wait until he was gone, then get her own food. They were like 2 strangers sharing a room. Jake set up a curtain to give Lyra more privacy. He also got her some human clothes since she only had the strange white dress she arrived in. She seemed surprised by his kindness. Why do you do these things for me? She asked one morning. Jake was making coffee. He had not slept well again. Because it's the right thing to do. But I am here to serve you. You should not serve me. Jake turned to look at her. Nobody should serve anybody. We're equals. Lyra frowned. Equals? I do not understand this word. It means we're the same. Both important. Both have the right to choose what we do. Lyra was quiet for a long time. On my world, some people are more important than others. I am not important. Why do you think that? Because I am defective. Jake almost dropped his coffee cup. What do you mean defective? Lyra sat down at the small table. I feel too much. I ask too many questions. I do not follow orders well. My people think this makes me broken. That doesn't make you broken. That makes you human. But I am not human. No, but you think like one. You have feelings and questions. That's good. Lyra looked confused. Feelings are weakness. Questions are dangerous. Jake sat down across from her. Who told you that? Everyone on my world. We are taught this from birth. Strong people do not feel. Smart people do not question. Jake felt sorry for her. That's not true. Feelings make us strong. Questions make us smart. Then why did my people send me away? Jake thought about this. Maybe because they're afraid of you. Afraid? Of me? Yeah. People who ask questions can change things. People who feel deeply can inspire others. Maybe they sent you away because you were becoming too powerful. Lyra stared at him. I never thought of it that way. After that conversation, things started to change. Lyra began asking Jake questions about human life. She wanted to know about families, about friendship, about love. Jake tried to explain these things, but they were hard to put into words. Humans choose who they live with? Lyra asked one day. Yes. We call it marriage. Two people decide they want to be together. They decide. No one tells them. Sometimes families give advice, but the choice is theirs. Lyra was amazed. On my world, all partnerships are arranged. People are matched based on genetics and social status. Did they match you with someone? Lyra's face became sad. No, I was too defective to match with anyone. That is why they could give me to you. Jake felt angry, not at Lyra, but at her people. You're not defective. You're perfect the way you are. Lyra looked at him with wonder. No one has ever said that to me before. Jake started showing Lyra human entertainment. He had old movies on his computer and some music. Lyra was fascinated by everything. She laughed at comedies and cried at sad movies. Her reactions were pure and honest. Why do humans create stories that make them sad? She asked after watching. A war movie. Because sometimes we need to feel sad. It helps us understand life better. On my world, we do not have sad stories, only educational ones. That sounds boring. Lyra smiled. It was the first time Jake had seen her really smile. It was very boring. Jake began to sleep better. The nightmares were still there, but they were not as bad. He realized that taking care of Lyra was helping him heal. Not because she was absorbing his pain like the Zephyrians thought, but because she gave him something to focus on besides his own problems. One day, Lyra tried to cook dinner for Jake. She had never cooked before, but she wanted to learn. The food was terrible, but Jake ate it anyway and said it was good. You are lying, Lyra said. I can see it in your face. Jake laughed. Okay, it was awful, but you tried, and that matters. You are not angry that I wasted food? Of course not. Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning. Lyra seemed amazed by this idea. On my world, mistakes are punished. Here, mistakes are how we learn. As the days passed, Jake noticed that Lyra was changing. She was more confident, more curious. She asked questions about everything. Why did humans have different skin colors? Why did they eat different foods? Why did they believe in different things? Jake tried to answer all her questions. Sometimes he did not know the answers, and he would say so. This surprised Lyra. You admit when you do not know something? Of course, nobody knows everything. Leaders, on my world, never admit ignorance. Then they're not very good leaders. One evening, Lyra asked Jake about his nightmares. He had woken up screaming again, and she had heard him. You still have pain from the battle, she said. Jake nodded. Yes. I watched my friends die. I couldn't save them. Is that why the Zephyrians sent me? To take away this pain? That's what they think, but it doesn't work that way. Pain isn't something you can just take away. Then how do you heal? Jake thought about this. By learning to live with the pain. By finding new reasons to keep going. Have you found new reasons? Jake looked at her. Maybe. That night, Lyra did something unexpected. She came out of the bedroom wearing a thin white nightgown. Jake was on the couch trying to read. Jake, she said softly. He looked up and immediately looked away. Lyra, what are you doing? I think I should perform the comfort ritual now. The what? The ritual to take away your pain. I should have done it sooner. She started to remove the nightgown. Jake jumped up and gently caught her hands. No, he said firmly but kindly. You don't have to do that. But this is why I'm here. No, it's not. Not anymore. Lyra looked confused and hurt. Do you not find me attractive? That's not the point. The point is that you don't really want to do this. How do you know what I want? Because I've been watching you for 2 weeks. You're happiest when you're learning something new or asking questions. You're not happy when you talk about serving me. Lyra stood there in her nightgown, tears in her purple eyes. I do not understand. All my life I was told my purpose was to serve others. Maybe your purpose is to serve yourself, to be happy, to choose what you want to do. But what if I do not know what I want? Jake smiled gently. Then we'll figure it out together. As friends. Friends? Yes. People who care about each other but don't own each other. Lyra began to cry. Real tears, not the silent sadness she usually showed. I have never had a friend, she whispered. Jake felt his heart break a little. You have one now? He handed her a tissue and helped her sit down on the couch. They talked for hours that night. Lyra told him about her lonely childhood, about being different from other Zephyrians. Jake told her about his family on Earth, about his dreams before the war. As the sun came up through the station's windows, Jake realized something important. His nightmares had not come that night, not because Lyra had taken away his pain, but because he had found something worth staying awake for. Someone who needed a friend as much as he did. After their long talk, things changed between Jake and Lyra. They became real friends. Jake started taking her around the space station to show her how humans lived. The first place he took her was the cafeteria during lunchtime. Lyra was amazed by all the different people eating together. There were humans from Earth, humans born on other planets, and even a few aliens from friendly species. They all eat together? Lyra asked. Of course. Why wouldn't they? On my world, different classes of people eat separately. Workers eat with workers, leaders eat with leaders. Jake watched her face as she saw people laughing and talking together. A young soldier was sitting with an old engineer. A doctor was sharing jokes with a mechanic. Here, people eat with friends, Jake explained. It doesn't matter what job they have. Lyra was quiet for a moment. I like this better. Some soldiers at a nearby table were looking at Lyra and whispering. Jake heard one of them say something rude about alien girlfriends. His face got red with anger. Ignore them, Lyra said softly. I am used to being stared at. You shouldn't have to be used to it. Jake walked over to their table. Do you have something to say? The soldiers looked embarrassed. One of them, a big man named Pete, stood up. Just wondering how you got so lucky, Morrison. Lucky? Yeah, getting a beautiful alien to keep you company. Jake's hands made fists. She's not a pet. She's a person. Pete laughed. Come on, man. We all know what these cultural exchanges are really about. Jake wanted to hit him, but Lyra appeared beside him. She put a gentle hand on his arm. It's okay, she said. Let's go. But Pete wasn't done. Must be nice, having someone to warm your bed who can't say no. That was too much. Jake punched Pete in the face. Pete fell back into his chair, holding his nose. The other soldiers started to get up, but the cafeteria security guards came running over. That's enough, one of the guards shouted, or break it up. Jake and Lyra left quickly. Jake's knuckles were bleeding. You did not have to fight for me, Lyra said as they walked back to their room. Yes, I did. Nobody talks about you like that. But now you will get in trouble. Jake shrugged. Worth it? Lyra stopped walking and stared at him. Why? Because you're my friend. Friends protect each other. Back in their room, Lyra cleaned Jake's cut knuckles. Her touch was gentle and careful. On my world, no one has ever fought to defend me, she said. Well, you're not on your world anymore. Lyra smiled. I am glad. The next day, Jake took Lyra to the hydroponics bay. This was where the station grew food in special rooms with artificial sunlight. Lyra's eyes went wide when she saw all the plants. This is beautiful, she whispered. You like plants? I have always loved growing things, but on my world, only certain people are allowed to be farmers. Jake introduced her to Dr. Lisa Park, the woman who ran the hydroponics bay. Dr. Park was friendly and seemed happy to have visitors. Would you like to help? Dr. Park asked Lyra. We're always looking for volunteers. Lyra looked at Jake. Is that allowed? Of course it's allowed. You can do whatever you want. So Lyra started spending time in the hydroponics bay. She learned quickly and had good instincts for caring for plants. Dr. Park was impressed. She has a natural gift, Dr. Park told Jake one day. Has she studied botany? No, she was never allowed to study what she wanted. Dr. Park frowned. That's a shame. She could be a real scientist if she had the chance. Jake started thinking about this. Before he became a soldier, he had studied agriculture on Earth. He knew a lot about farming and growing food. Maybe he could teach Lyra that evening. He brought some of his old textbooks to show her. Lyra's eyes lit up when she saw them. These explain how plants grow? Everything about plants. Biology, chemistry, soil science. Lyra opened one of the books and started reading. She read for hours without stopping. Jake had never seen anyone so eager to learn. This is amazing, she said. On my world, I was told that curiosity was a flaw, but these books reward curiosity. That's what learning is supposed to do. Over the next few weeks, Jake taught Lyra everything he knew about plants and farming. She was the best student he ever had. She asked smart questions and understood complex ideas quickly. They worked together in the hydroponics bay every day. Other people on the station started to notice how good Lyra was with plants. She figured out how to make tomatoes grow bigger and how to keep lettuce fresh longer. You're a natural scientist, Jake told her one day. What is a scientist? Someone who asks questions and finds answers. Someone who tries to understand how things work. Lyra smiled. I think I would like to be a scientist. You already are one. One evening they were working late in the hydroponics bay. They were alone among the growing plants. The artificial sunlight was dim, like sunset. Lyra was checking on some seedlings when she started to speak. Jake, I need to tell you something. What? The Zephyrians will come back soon to check on you. I know. It's been almost 2 months. They will want to know if I have healed you. Jake looked at her. Have you? Lyra was quiet for a moment. Not the way they think. They believe I should absorb your pain and make you forget your sadness. But that is not what happened. What did happen? You gave me something I never had before: choice, friendship, the chance to learn. Jake felt warm inside. You gave me something too. What? A reason to stop feeling sorry for myself. Someone to care about. They looked at each other across the plants. The moment felt important, like something was changing. The Zephyrians will not understand this, Lyra said. They will think we have both failed. Let them think what they want. But they might take me away. Jake felt fear in his chest. He had not thought about this. They can't do that. Yes, they can. I belong to them. No, you don't. You belong to yourself. Lyra shook her head sadly. That is not how my people see it. That night, Jake could not sleep. He kept thinking about losing Lyra. She had become the most important person in his life, not as a romantic partner, but as a true friend. Someone who understood him. He found her sitting by the window, looking out at the stars. Can't sleep either, he asked. I keep thinking about going back, she said. About forgetting everything I have learned here. Forgetting? When Zephyrians are given to other species and then returned, they undergo mind cleansing. to remove foreign influences. Jake felt sick. They would erase your memories? Yes, I would not remember being friends with you. I would not remember learning about plants. I would go back to being the defective girl who asks too many questions. That's horrible. It is their way. Jake sat down next to her. Without thinking, he took her hand. It was the first time they had really touched each other. Lyra looked down at their joined hands. What is this? Friendship, caring, support. Physical touch without demand? Yes. Lyra began to cry. I did not know such a thing existed. Jake squeezed her hand gently. Now you do. They sat together by the window, holding hands and looking at the stars. Both of them knew that their time together was running out. But for this moment they had each other. And that was enough. The Zephyrians came back exactly 2 months after they had left Lyra with Jake. Ambassador Veltar arrived with 2 other aliens Jake had not seen before. They looked serious and cold. Captain Harris called Jake to the same meeting room where this had all started. Jake's heart was beating fast as he walked there. He knew this day would come, but he was not ready for it. When he entered the room, he saw Lyra was already there. She was wearing her old white dress again, the one she had arrived in. She looked small and sad like she had when he first met her. Lieutenant Morrison, Veltar said, we have come to see how your healing has progressed. I'm fine, Jake said. Good. Our medical scans show that your stress levels have decreased significantly. Lyra has done her job well. Jake looked at Lyra. She was staring at the floor, not meeting his eyes. Yes, she has, Jake said carefully. However, Veltar continued, we have received some troubling reports about your behavior during this time. What kind of reports? Our observation devices recorded unusual interactions between you and Lyra. You were seen teaching her, working alongside her, treating her as an equal. Jake felt cold. Observation devices? Of course. We had to monitor the experiment to ensure it was working properly. You were spying on us? We were gathering data. This is very important to us. You see, we have been studying human emotional responses for some time. Captain Harris spoke up. What do you mean, studying? Veltar turned to the captain. Humans are unique in the galaxy. Most species become weaker when they experience strong emotions, but humans become stronger. We needed to understand why. Jake realized what was happening. You were using us as test subjects. In a way, yes. We wanted to see how human emotions work, how your pain and healing process might benefit our people. And what did you learn? Captain Harris asked. That humans are very strange. Instead of using Lyra to absorb his emotional damage, Lieutenant Morrison chose to care for her well-being. This is not logical behavior. Jake felt angry. Caring for someone else is the most logical thing in the world. Not to us. On our world, the strong use the weak. They do not protect them. Then your world is wrong. Veltar's crystal face showed no expression. Perhaps, but now we must correct our mistake. What mistake? Lyra has been contaminated by human ideas. She has learned to question authority, to want things for herself, to believe she has value as an individual. This makes her dangerous to our society. Jake stepped forward. She's not dangerous, she's just free. Freedom is a human concept that does not work for our people. We must take Lyra back for reconditioning. Reconditioning? Her memories will be erased and her personality will be reset. She will become a proper Zephyrian again. Jake looked at Lyra. She was crying silently, but she did not speak. You can't do that to her, Jake said. She belongs to us. We can do whatever we think is necessary. Captain Harris cleared his throat. Actually, there might be a problem with that. Everyone looked at the captain. Lieutenant Morrison's psychological evaluation shows he is fully healed and ready for active duty. But he has also expressed some very valuable insights about emotional intelligence and leadership. The fleet wants him to become a trainer, not a field soldier. What does this have to do with Lyra? Veltar asked. Well, if Jake stays here as a trainer, and if Lyra has been helping him, then maybe she should stay too. For the good of human military readiness. Jake understood what Captain Harris was trying to do. He was looking for a way to protect Lyra. That is not acceptable, Veltar said. We need Lyra back. Why? Jake asked. You said she was defective. Why do you want her back if she was just a throwaway to begin with? Veltar hesitated. Because she now possesses knowledge of human behavior that could be valuable. You mean you want to study her brain to learn how humans think? Something like that, yes. Jake felt sick. So you're going to erase her personality and then study what's left? If necessary. Jake looked at Lyra again. She finally looked up and met his eyes. He could see the fear there, but also something else. Determination. Lyra, Jake said, do you want to go back with them? It does not matter what I want, she said quietly. Yes, it does. It matters to me. Veltar stepped between them. She will come with us now. This discussion is over. No, Jake said. It's not over. Lieutenant Morrison, Captain Harris said in a warning voice. No, Captain. This is wrong. They can't just take her. She is not human, Veltar said. She has no rights under your laws. Then I quit, Jake said. Everyone stared at him. What? Captain Harris asked. I quit the military. I resigned my commission. As a civilian, I can request political asylum for Lyra. Jake, you can't do that, Captain Harris said. Think about your career. Think about your future. I am thinking about the future. About what kind of person I want to be. Jake turned to Lyra. I can't force you to stay. But if you want to, I'll fight for you. I'll protect you. Lyra stared at him with wide eyes. You would give up your military career for me? Yes. Why? Because that's what friends do for each other. Because you deserve to choose your own life. Veltar was getting angry. This is ridiculous. She is property of the Zephyrian government. No, Lyra said suddenly. I am not. Everyone turned to look at her. I am not property, she said, louder this time. I am a person. I have thoughts and feelings and dreams, and I choose to stay here. You do not have the right to choose, Veltar said. Yes, I do. Jake taught me that. All thinking beings have the right to choose their own path. This is human nonsense. Then I would rather be human than Zephyrian. Veltar was very angry now. If you do not return with us, we will consider it an act of war against our people. Captain Harris stood up. Now wait just a minute. You can't threaten war because one person wants to be free. She is not a person. She is a cultural exchange item. I am standing right here, Lyra said firmly. I can speak for myself. And I say, I am a person. Jake felt proud of her. She was being braver than he had ever been. This is your final warning, Veltar said to Jake. Return to your military duties and give us the female, or face the consequences. Jake looked at Lyra. She nodded at him. No, Jake said. We both choose freedom. Veltar turned to Captain Harris. This is your fault. You humans have corrupted her. We didn't corrupt her, Captain Harris said quietly. We just gave her a chance to be herself. The Zephyrians left the room, very angry. Captain Harris sighed and sat down. You realize what you've done, Jake? Yes, sir. This could cause a major diplomatic incident. I know. Was it worth it? Jake looked at Lyra, who was crying, but also smiling. Yes, he said, it was worth everything. But even as he said it, Jake knew their troubles were just beginning. The Zephyrians would not give up easily. And Jake had just made himself and Lyra enemies of an entire alien civilization, When Lyra took his hand and squeezed it gently, he knew he had made the right choice. The next few weeks were very difficult. The Zephyrians demanded that Jake and Lyra be handed over to them. They said it was a matter of honor and law. Many people in the human government were scared of losing Zephyrian support. But something unexpected happened. Captain Harris had recorded everything that was said in the meeting room. When other humans heard how the Zephyrians had been spying on Jake and Lyra, and how they planned to erase Lyra's mind, many people became angry. They were treating her like an object, not a person, Dr. Lisa Park said at a public hearing. That goes against everything we believe in. More people started to support Jake and Lyra. Soldiers who had worked with Jake spoke about his character. Scientists who had worked with Lyra in the hydroponics bay talked about her intelligence and kindness. She's not just smart, Dr. Park testified. She's brilliant. She figured out solutions to problems we've been working on for years. Erasing her mind would be like burning down a library. The hearing was broadcast across human space. Many people watched it and heard Lyra speak for herself. I am not asking for special treatment, Lyra said into the camera. I am only asking for the right to choose my own life. Is that not something all thinking beings deserve? Her words were simple but powerful. Messages of support came from all over human space. Even some aliens from other species sent messages saying they agreed with Lyra. The Zephyrians were not happy about this. They sent more ambassadors to try to get Jake and Lyra back. But the human government was starting to change its mind. We cannot hand over someone who is asking for our protection, the president said in a speech. That would make us no better than the people she is trying to escape from. Jake was amazed by how much support they were getting. He had expected to fight this battle alone. Why are so many people helping us? He asked Captain Harris. Because your story reminds them why they became human military in the first place, to protect people who cannot protect themselves. The legal battle took months. During that time, Jake and Lyra continued living on the space station. Jake was no longer a soldier, but the military let him stay as a civilian contractor. He helped train other soldiers about emotional intelligence and leadership. Lyra continued working in the hydroponics bay. She made amazing discoveries about how to grow food in space. Her research could help feed millions of people on frontier planets. They also spent time together, just as friends. They would watch movies, read books, and talk about their dreams for the future. What do you want to do if we win this case? Jake asked one evening. I want to learn more about science, maybe get a real education. What about you? I want to help other people like us, people who are caught between different worlds. You mean refugees? Yeah, and cultural exchange people who are being mistreated. Maybe we could start a program to help them. Lyra smiled. I would like that. Finally, the legal case was decided. A panel of judges from several human worlds ruled that Lyra had the right to request asylum. They said that any thinking being who could speak for themselves had basic rights that could not be taken away. The Zephyrians were very angry about this decision. They said they would no longer help humans with technology or trade. Let them go, the president said. We don't want allies who treat people like property. But something even more amazing happened. Other Zephyrians started to speak up, young ones mostly who had been watching the broadcasts about Lyra. We want the right to choose too, they said. We want to ask questions and learn new things. It started small, but it grew bigger. Zephyrians began to question their rigid society. Some of them even left their home world to live among humans and other species. Ambassador Veltar came back to the space station one last time. He looked tired and defeated. You have destroyed our way of life, he told Jake and Lyra. No, Lyra said. We just showed your people that there was another way to live. Our society is falling apart. Young Zephyrians no longer obey their elders. Maybe that's not a bad thing, Jake said. Vel quote. Tar stared at them for a long moment. You really believe that emotions and questions make beings stronger? Yes, Lyra said. They made me stronger. And friendship makes us both stronger, Jake added. Vel quote. Tar sighed. Perhaps we were wrong about many things. A year later, Jake and Lyra opened their own research station. It was small but growing. They studied how to grow food in difficult environments and how to help people from different cultures live together. The station became a place where refugees and displaced people could come for help. Jake used his military skills to teach them how to protect themselves. Lyra used her scientific knowledge to teach them how to grow their own food. They also worked with people who had been through cultural exchange programs like Lyra's. Many of them had been mistreated or misunderstood. Jake and Lyra helped them find their own voices and choices. "You saved me," one young alien woman told Lyra. "Your story gave me courage to speak up." "I didn't save you," Lyra replied. "You saved yourself. I just showed you it was possible." Jake watched Lyra work with these people and felt proud. She had become everything she was meant to be. A teacher, a scientist, a leader. He thought about that first day when the Zephyrians had brought her to him. They had meant for her to absorb his pain and make him a better soldier. Instead, she had become his best friend and had changed the galaxy. One evening, they were working in their new hydroponics lab. The plants were growing well and the lab was full of life and green things. "Do you ever miss being a soldier?" Lyra asked. "Sometimes," Jake said. "But I like this better. We're growing things instead of destroying them. And we're helping people choose their own paths. Yeah, that feels more important than fighting wars." Lyra smiled and took his hand. It was a gesture they shared often now. Not romantic, but deeply caring. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For showing me that I could choose to be myself." Jake squeezed her hand gently. "Thank you for giving me something worth fighting for." They stood together among the growing plants, two friends who had found each other across the galaxy. Jake realized that the Zephyrians had been right about one thing. Lyra had healed him. Not by taking away his pain, but by giving him a purpose larger than himself. And he had healed her too, not by fixing what was broken, but by showing her that nothing was broken in the first place. Outside their station, the galaxy was slowly changing. Species that had never spoken to each other were beginning to communicate. Young beings everywhere were asking new questions and making new choices. It had all started with one simple decision. When offered a gift that was really a person, Jake had chosen to take her hand in friendship instead of treating her as property. That one choice had changed everything. As Jake looked around their lab, full of growing things and hope for the future, he realized that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could have the biggest effects. They had both been given as gifts to soothe others. Instead, they had chosen to gift themselves with something far more valuable. Freedom.